All right. Hello, friends. Monday. Another week to rock. Okay. Another week to kick butt. Okay. So today, I was going to talk to you about the 5Why's method. I found some fabulous resources and also wanted to share where I had picked up some of my 5Why strategies. So I'm just going to pop them in the chat for you here. This one you're just going to love. Here we go. And a favorite book on this topic and problem solving, period. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So the 5Why's method is a method that I suggest when you talk to your subject matter experts. First tip, always record your conversations with your subject matter experts. It is invaluable. It allows you to focus on their answers and to dig deeper. If you are trying to write at the same time, there's just no way you can do it unless you're like amazing at shorthand, and I doubt it. And even then, you will miss the nuances. So always record your sessions with your subject matter expert. That's just my tip number one. Tip number two, when you are talking to your subject matter expert, the 5Why's method is there because what happens when somebody asks you a question, you usually jump to the most available answer that your mind supplies. Now, Daniel Kahneman and his partner Amos, I forgot Amos's last name, they wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. And what he talked about there is called what we all suffer from, which is called the availability heuristic, which means that when you are faced with a problem or a question, what happens is because your mind is lazy and trying to be efficient, you can spin it that way, then what happens is you will look for, reasons why things are happening based on availability in your environment. And so one of the examples I wanted to bring up to you is this great example from a micro-learning company called Grovo, Grovo. And I posted in the comments in the chat an image that they created. I'm just going to read it right now, which is them walking through the 5Why's method. So, and I wanted to read through it because I want you to also later to notice that availability heuristic, which is, something's wrong. What do I think is actually wrong? I'm not going to examine it any further. I'm just going to go with the first answer that comes into my mind and assume that this is the right answer because in my gut, I feel it's right. So here's the question. So VP of product comes to the instructional designer and says, hey, I need you to build a course on collaboration for the product team. Why? Well, the product team is not really working well together. Why? Well, the team members are not satisfied with the end product and they're blaming one another. Why? Because they don't really give each other feedback in the early going. Why? Well, because we have team feedback sessions and some people feel uncomfortable criticizing others in public. Ooh, okay. So maybe the learning objective is product team members should be able to give one another critical feedback in team meetings. Now, you could actually say that not very much has changed from, he said the initial request was for collaboration, a collaboration course. But one of the things you want to think about is that when you're designing a scenario, the challenge is to apply the Pareto principle, which is what's the 20% of behaviors that I can attack with this learning that will actually have the most impact on the end product, on the individual. And if I'm able to discover with this person who obviously has the insight and is aware of the entire process, they just need to be prompted with the whys to find out what it is. If I can build 5 or 6 scenarios with the subject matter expert on how to give effective feedback, then that would probably take care of a lot of the other things that are included under the collaboration umbrella. Do you know what I mean? So what happens is, if I apply the 5 Why's method, even at the very front end of when somebody's making that request, I can very easily figure out exactly what that behavior is that we're trying to change. Now, imagine if, and this is why the 5 Why's method is so effective, and if you want to learn more about applying it in problem solving and business context, the book that I listed by, I think it's Ken Watanabe, Problem Solving 101, a simple book for smart people, tiny book, tiny. And this is what I love, when somebody is able to distill ideas into such clear, succinct language that doesn't need to be bloated. It doesn't need to be legalese or fancy. It just needs to give you, like, basically the whole book is 3 case studies of how people, these little creatures, are applying this problem-solving strategy to come to the right decisions and conclusions, or the best decisions under the circumstances and within the context of what's available to them. It's really well done, and I think we should just read it more than once. It's basically a handbook for problem solving. It is an absolute fabulous book. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's wonderful. So get it now, and get the physical version, because it's beautifully illustrated, and also there's just it's just beautifully done. I don't think the Kindle or the electronic version is going to be as awesome as this tiny little book with all these beautiful little illustrations. It's really fun, and it sticks in your mind. The stories are fabulous. It's just all around a well done book. So one of the things that you can, let's say you are going through the 5 Why's method, and at the very end, when you're really trying to get to the heart of the problem with the 5 Why's. And so what you can do then is, if at the end the person says, well, it's because we don't provide people with any opportunity to actually give feedback, that's a process piece, like returning to our example. And let's say that the reason the collaboration always sucked is because they never actually scheduled in sessions to actually give feedback. That's not a training issue. That's maybe a workflow issue. And you're better equipped to solve that. You could say, okay, well, if it's not the people who are that they want to collaborate but don't have the opportunity, who are the people who are scheduling, who are the project managers who are managing this, let's say, and how come they don't see collaboration as an essential point in the development of these products, right? That might be the gap. So what happens is you're trying to uncover what that gap is, and then augment it somehow. And it might even be that you create a single scenario at that point that's targeted at the project manager. And what they do is they work through a situation where there's a team developing a product, and they get to the very end and everything's well, but they forgot to do that, at that critical point where the decision was to either, launch it later than planned, but definitely work these review sessions and collaboration sessions into the system. We're trying to save money up front and save time up front, but we're actually wasting all this time because we didn't actually do the kind of feedback that was necessary to produce a product that the market would actually enjoy and love. So that's fabulous opportunity for a scenario. You don't have to kill that to death. You could just do 1 or 2 with well done situation, and then that's it. And that fixes it, because what you can do then is suggest then resources that will help somebody plan, maybe show them a plan that is actually really conducive to that collaboration, that still produces the kind of timelines and results that are effective. So there's lots of opportunities there to use that 5 Why's method. The other thing I want you to also consider is that when somebody is, if you come into the conversation and you're okay with that 5 Why's, I think a lot of people think that the subject matter expert would get frustrated with them because they're asking so many why questions, kind of like a toddler, why, right? The toddlers get to the essence of things. They really want to know. They're curious. They want to know the reason. You're a toddler when you're in those situations. You want to know the reason. You want to get to the root. You want to bypass eliminate all of those availability heuristics, the reasons why people jump to conclusions. You want to get beyond that, not to say dismiss it, but dig deeper and deeper and deeper, because the deeper you dig and the more focused you are on finding the root cause, you find that root cause and you attack it like a mad person, that's when you're going to see results. That's when the ahas are going to start happening, because they're actually tied to why people mess up. It's not because they don't know how to collaborate. It's because they're afraid to give feedback because they don't know how, or, you know, they don't realize that by holding back, they're actually hurting themselves. So don't be afraid of asking the why, because people who are passionate about what they do, people who are interested in what they do and interested in helping you, when you ask why, they'll actually appreciate the fact that they're asked to think about it more deeply, or that you care about it enough to really uncover the real issue. And don't worry about, you know, sounding like a fool, like a repetitive record, broken record. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, because you want to get to the heart of the problem. So if you need to say that, saying, you know, I get it, but can you tell me why? That's fine. Just keep going until you get to that one where you're like, oh, they're scared. Well, they're scared because they don't know how, right? So you got to the point of why something happened, which is a wonderful thing, which feels amazing when you get there, because it's so clear to everybody. And at that point, it feels so good. I did see another video that was about the 5 Whys, and it was really profound. Maybe I'll find it. I think it's obviously on YouTube. But it was really about getting to the heart of a problem. And the first thing that jumps into your mind is usually not the reason why things are happening. It's because of the availability heuristic. So that was it for me for today. Yesterday it snowed, just to let you know. It's February 3rd. We got our first snow. Hopefully it is our last. It was cold for this place. And also, you know, we got things that don't appreciate snow, like me and my eucalyptus tree. All right. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I will be here again tomorrow. Now, if you have questions about scenarios, if you have questions about the process of designing one, of talking to subject matter experts, all those things, please post them in the comments. I will be able to answer those probably in an upcoming live. Also, if you are starting a scenario project with your team and you need a scenario coach to walk you through that process and help you basically from soup to nuts go from zero to launch, I do have a program. It's 6 weeks. And basically, I walk you alongside you with my process, guide you, give you feedback, and also then help you refine that. And that's about a 6-week process. I usually include an extra 2, just so you can refine it, get feedback from the SMEs, and we can, you know, just basically make it even more awesome well before you launch. And that's that. So between 6 to 8 weeks, you got a working scenario that you can launch to your users and is focused on the right things. So if you want help with that, email me, anna@annasabramowitz.com, and we can get a conversation started. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And if I don't see you again tomorrow, have a wonderful rest of the week. All right, take care. Bye.